That's me.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Mission Foods Atlanta SpeedTour, the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series with BridgeHaul and Bennett. As you can see, we're doing things a little bit differently because of the weather. I have a Georgia weather expert here, awesome Bill from Dawsonville. Bill Elliott from just up the road was racing with us here yesterday. Bill, you're actually saying that the track's going to dry pretty quick. What's your weather advice?
Well, I don't really have any because I didn't think it was supposed to rain this morning anyway, but it's going to be a different. I'd probably gamble and put on slicks and try it, but I don't do much in the rain, so I'd probably be off the track somewhere anyway, so it wouldn't matter.
But as you know, here in the South, if you don't like the weather, just wait 5 minutes because now, just since we've been talking, the sun's come out.
Yeah, but it's still drizzling rain just a little bit, but I think it'll dry out quick. The safe bet's go on rain tires. I mean, that's going to be safe for the guys. I hear a lot of these guys hadn't got much experience or any experience in the rain, so it's going to be interesting one way or the other.
Nice. I love it. And if anybody has racing experience, especially in the state of Georgia, Bill Elliott, how cool is that? What an honor to have you here. We're going to talk to Austin Green, who's got some NASCAR blood in him with his father. Today you turned 22, not the way you wanted to spend your 22nd birthday here in the rain, right?
Yeah, it's first time racing in the rain, so turn one will be pretty interesting to say the least, and I think there's going to be a lot of strategy going on depending on the weather, so I think it should clear up soon, but who knows?
Yeah. So from what I've heard from the three-dimensional services group team, everybody's going out in rains, is that right?
All of us are doing rains, yes, but I think a lot of everybody behind us are going on slicks. So I think we're going to make a last-minute decision here.
Well, Tony, if you don't mind, our cameraman, whose birthday was yesterday, we're going to follow out here to Rafa so you can see, I'm in my weatherproof boots. There is standing water on here, but Rafa is out here talking to his team as the cars are going to come down in the grid. Let's try to take a look because he's on pole. Rafa Matos is our Motul Pole Award winner. And he's talking to his team. But this is going to be the most important part, coming down into Turn 1. Turn 1 has been what we call polished. The racing line is polished. So I'm thinking that he's going to want to maybe go offline. But let's talk to him. He's talking to his team right now. But Rafa, do you mind if I interrupt, because I know that you guys right now are going to be on the reins, but now looking at this and hearing what Bill Elliott said, what's your strategy?
We don't know yet. We have about 3 minutes to decide what we're going to do, but it's going to be a tough one to make a call. The track seems to be drying pretty quickly, but still wet. It doesn't look like it's going to rain in the next 40 minutes, so we'll see what's going to happen here.
And does it seem like Road Atlanta, like some of the other tracks we run, like Mid-Ohio, does it have a rain line, or do you just kind of stay off of the racing line just a little bit?
I'm not sure about this track. I never race here in the rain, so I'm going to learn as we go here. But I suspect that you have to take the rain line because it's quite a bit of rubber on the race line, so you have to avoid that.
Nice. Well, that's Rafa Matos, who has done really well here at Road Atlanta. So, Chris, I know you hate talking to me, but I'm going to talk to you anyway. What are you telling your team? Because this is so crazy. It changes every 5 minutes.
It's really tough, right? Because we're watching the weather every couple minutes, and it looks like we may get rain on some channels, may not get rain on others. And if we don't get rain, it's going to be a dry race. This place dries out really, really quick, lots of elevation change, and it's just really tough. It's a flip of the coin right now.
Thank you, Chris. So I did just drive the track in my Chevy Silverado, and I'll tell you, the curbing, the yellow and blue curbing that you see, there's standing water on all of the yellow and blue curbing. You can see there he's using a blower on the track. Coming out here, Bill Elliott's still hanging out. I think Bill Elliott thinks this is going to be a really interesting start, so he's going to stick around and see what that's about. And we're going to come through here. So, Joe, We've got Joe Hollett here. Joe, I know that you're with a three-dimensional racing team. What would your call be? You're from this area somewhat. What's your call here?
It's showing rain coming. It's sunny, breaking clear. Track is somewhat drivable on slicks. That's the big gamble right now. We're struggling on the decision.
I love it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's going to get through here. Yeah, see, exactly. Best data guy in the business from another team. We're here at the Mission Foods Atlanta SpeedTour. This is going to be very interesting. We're dealing with rains or slicks. But ladies and gentlemen, right now we're going to take a break and go to commercial. But stay here with us.
SVRA action?
Atlanta Speed
Well, the
Tour.
best way to enjoy classic auto racing is with a delicious classic from Mission Foods. Green flag your race-watching snacks with Mission's mouth-watering race day recipes. Try some of our tasty tacos, piled high nachos, fresh chips with guac, and more. So gear up your ride and fuel up those stomachs with delicious Mission Foods. Now that's too fast, too tasty.
Speed, endurance, desire. For 160 years, Motul has helped engines and drivers go faster, further, and stronger. Tested in the heat of battle, driven with passion, with one aim: to give you superior powertrain protection and performance. Motul.
You've got a business to run, big and heavy products to ship, and customers who need them now. When you've got the right driver and the right equipment, you can bet on a spectacular result. Bennett understands complex logistics and puts the best team, the most time, and the latest technology into every customer relationship. So you can sit back, relax, and enjoy the race. Let us handle the rest.
Together, we can move anything.
Welcome back to the Mission Foods Atlanta SpeedTour. This is the day that I love when it comes to motor racing, where you've got inclement conditions and varying conditions as the day goes on, especially just before the start of a race, because I think you get the best out of motor racing in these conditions. You get the best out of the drivers, and you get best out of the teams in terms of decision-making, driver advice, coaches' advice. The drivers, you saw just how nervous there Rafa Matos was. I'm delighted to bring into the booth this weekend a man who loves racing in the wet but isn't racing today, two-time winner in TA2, of course, Tyler Casera. And Tyler, you know, like I said, do you agree? These are the times where you really see who's got what.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me. It's honor to be here. And yeah, these are the times that stress the teams out the most. You know, the last hour, this pre-grid has been extremely stressful for all of these teams. Thinking initially they were going to roll on wet tires. Feverishly changing to slicks here right before they rolled to grid. Even some cars, you know, the three-dimensional cars, a couple of them switching to slicks. Yeah, this is going to be really interesting to see here who's got what pace early on. I'm expecting maybe some folks that stuck on the rain tires to move forward early, and but I think these slick tires are going to come in, and we're going to see those guys putting down some good lap times once we get a little bit drier than it is right now.
And also what makes this a little extra spice, if you will, is the fact that this isn't Lime Rock. That's the last rain race I can remember, or most recently anyway. But Road Atlanta is a different prospect. Road Atlanta is tough in the dry, never mind the wet. And because of the undulation, because of the big hills here, you get sitting water. So try as they might, they're never going to get all of it out of the way. So we're going to have a wet, drying track, which I think is even more tough than a fully wet track, where at least the conditions are constant. Whereas now, you don't know where the grip is.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we know where all the puddles are, where the rivers are around this track, but these drivers are going to be learning every single lap of the opening of this race. We haven't had any wet laps here, I think, in TA2 for at least 3 years. So and varying kind of wet weather experience in the field. So it'll be interesting to see, who can make the most of that early and who can adapt the quickest. That's what it's going to be about here.
Well, you can see they've got the blowers out. And Tyler, I'm delighted to have you here this weekend. I wish you were out there, but more importantly, you've been helping the guy who's had the most improvement. There's two sensations in my mind. We expect Merrill, the champion, and we expect Matos to be up there. Let's just pause. So let's take a look at this track, and Tyler, tell me more from what you hear or see here at this track and why it's so special.
Yeah, I mean, this track is one of my favorite in North America. It is a real challenge, and it's got a lot of elevation. The walls are pretty close. It's pretty risky. To generate a lap time here, you're really on edge. One of my favorite tracks, and one of the most challenging in North America, for sure.
And this corner here, 10A and 10B, critical.
Absolutely. It presents the best passing opportunity on this track, the clearest opportunity, and where we're going to see a lot of really good racing.
Yeah, like I said, add in that extra factor of the wet, drying track, and you really do have a lot of head scratching to go on because those S's are so tough. Don't forget, MAV TV, you'll be able to see all the TA2 series and the TA series, yesterday's race, and that all starts on a fantastic Thursday for motorsport. Thursday, March 30th, that's this coming Thursday, 8 p.m., and that's followed directly at 9 p.m. Eastern by the TA race. So back-to-back coverage of our race. So a big night Thursday night. Don't book anything. You'll want to watch some Trans Am highlights. We'll bring you all the action. And we're on MAV TV all season long. Cameraman ready at the weight as the anthem rings out over Road Atlanta. Now, we've been talking about how Rafa Matos is approaching this race. He's the pole man. So why don't we take a look now at the full grid for the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series. Rafa and Slater. We're going to talk about Slater in a moment. Nathan Hearn, who's been the sensation from Australia, starts on row 2. Brent Cruz, already a winner on row 2 too. Thomas Merrill, our champion, alongside Austin Green. Happy birthday, 22 today. And then Seata, pole last time out, had to come through the field. Connor Zillage, all in the mix, very much so. Dylan McAvan, an absolute expert here, and Darren Mock alongside him on row 5. A little further down, Adrian Lostowski, Misha Goikberg, guys that have been in the championship a couple of years. Tad Moffitt never raced in the rain in one of these cars. Dylan Archer, I would presume, is pretty much in the same situation. Keith Brocek, he's a veteran, as is Adam Andretti. Watch them come through from row 8. Boris Said Jr., this is a big test for him. Scott Borchetta, steady as you go. Barry Bowes from Texas, Ben Mayer, just a kid, but he too will be savoring the opportunity to race these cars in the rain. Sabato, Sarge, Sheehan, Durbin, that's row 12. Peterson, 13 on row 13, alongside Luke Rumberg. Then Eric Caton and Michelle Abate on row 14. Ty Young in 15th, and then Matt Perrant. So it's going to be really interesting. Clifton, Lustig, Raymond Gray, Caleb Bacon, Doug Winston, and Parker DeLong coming back. Another youngster, just 14 years of age, and he's in the BridgeHaul Mike Cope racing car. These are the nervous moments. Is this where you start to feel the butterflies?
Yeah, absolutely. When you're rolling off the grid here, actually, it's really sitting on the grid is when the butterflies are the most. Once you start rolling down pit lane, the butterflies tend to kind of go away because then it's all focused forward on what you need to do in the car. So excited to see how this one starts. And we've got some dry spots developing here on the front straightaway, and I would imagine that's kind of consistent around the track. And,
you know, it's interesting. When we have guys like yourself who are so used to being distracted and you get this quiet moment, now you have to suffer this, if you will, of having to know what it's like out there, but also having to kind of go through the same procedure you would do. Are you sort of feeling like you're in race mode?
A little bit. My heart rate's going up a little bit here.
I haven't met a driver who doesn't feel that way.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of ingrained in you, right, that these moments are the ones that are the most stressful, and yeah, we've all got a job to do here in the next 100 miles.
Well, let's just take a look at the championship, because Rafa Matos leads by just 6 points, 203 points coming into round 3. Brent Cruz, who won the last race, is in 2nd place, and Connor Zillage, yet to have a win, is in 3rd. Evan Slater on the front row this weekend. He is on 4th position on 156 points, just 1 ahead of our current champion, Thomas Merrill. That's what's interesting next is the birthday boy, Austin Green, qualified brilliantly. He's got 130 points. And then 7th is Nathan Hearn. He, too, will start at the sharp end and looking for points. He's on 114 right now. So there's a lot of guys at the sharp end of this grid who all are at the sharp end of the championship. And then there's the likes of Andretti, who are so good in the wet. Keith Procher, plenty of experience. Dylan McAvern, huge experience here. So there's a lot of stories here, and we'll get through them as we can. A quick word, though. We're going to talk more as the race goes on. Evan Slater, what were your last words? You've been helping coach that young man. What have you said to him?
Yeah, he's been doing a really great job this year. Ton of speed. You know, we worked a little bit on racecraft and things like that. I mean, this is pretty tricky condition to try to coach somebody on. You know, we knew we were going to roll on slick tires, and it's just survival mode here in the beginning of this race. So I just said, you know, we got to survive the beginning of the race, and we got to be there when the track comes to us, and we got to have a car that can get to the end. So, you know, I trust he knows what he's got to do.
Well, as you saw, Evan Slater very much in the championship chase in 4th place on 156 points, but he's only 1 ahead of Merrill. That's what makes today so interesting. Well, you can hear the rumble. We're going to take a short break, and when we go back to Atlanta, we'll be ready to race.
If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low-volume production, 3-Dimensional Services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. 3-Dimensional Services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. 3-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.
I'm Richard Petty, and you might say I've had a fairly successful driving career. And you know the secret of my success? Having a good support team around me when I need it. Whether you're a route driver, over-the-road trucker, or you're interested in driving special purpose vehicles, Clean Harbors is the kind of place where you can build a long driving career. Do yourself a favor, give Clean Harbors a call.
Welcome back to the Mission Foods Atlanta Speed Tour. We're on board with Rafa Matos, and we will be on his 3-Dimensional Services group throughout the race, so looking forward to that. He starts in pole. Can he maintain that? He's on slicks. Not a surprise, and you know, I think our guess would be that that would be the case. So we'll be keeping an eye on what Rafa does, but an important day for the championship leader, having had a best finish of last time out at NOLA with that win, and of course in pole. He got his first win here in 2018. We'll be on board with Dylan Archer. He starts mid-pack, and that always makes interesting coverage from our FPEC on board. And Dylan needs a good result. He struggled this year. He changed teams, and it all looked rosy, but it hasn't started that way. Nathan Hearn, what a sensation. The Cube 3 onboard camera, my word, am I glad we are watching this. If you are up early in Australia, this boy has just changed the world of Trans Am here in America in a very short space of time, and he is a contender for this year's championship at only 20 years of age. he's also absolutely up there in the chase for the young gun. Barry Bowes from Texas, and the ASIO data on board will be on board with him. And Barry's got some work to do because he starts mid-pack too, and I always think that that's one of the hardest places when you have a wet, drying track to be in the midfield, because you just don't know the speed that those in front and behind are going to be. Some guys are going to be brave, some guys are going to be cautious. So Barry Bowes has got a lot of work to do, as has this man, Scott Borchetta, in the, surprise, surprise, Big Machine Vodka Spike coolers on board. And Scott, steady as you go in that 48. Scott is always one to watch. And the good thing about Scott is a very sensible driver. He's come the right way, got the right coaches, and now his approach to these kind of races is not to create heroes, it's just to do the right thing at the right time and be careful. Completely different to this man, Boris Said Jr. is just starting out his career. He's never had a wet race in one of these cars. He's got great advice from the maestro himself, Boris Said, his dad, but this is going to be a true test in one of the top teams, the Three-Dimensional Services Group. Will be on board with Boris Said Jr. and his nervous father will be watching on. So, previous winners, Mike Skeen, not here this weekend. Franklin Fruchel, who was a driver instructor here, he won in 21. Mike Skeen, look at that great coverage Skeen's had. 219 Rafa Matos. Now, what is Doug Peterson doing? He's coming in for a tyre check. Is he going to change tyres or just getting pressure adjustments? I think that's just adjustments. Tyler, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it looks like he went to dry tires. Maybe they're bleeding the tires down. I'm not sure if they made a change there or not, but definitely see some Pirelli lettering on the side, so he's definitely on slicks.
Tyler, you've had your eagle eye on who's on what, but there are some surprises out there. I thought everybody would be on slicks, but that's not the case.
No, actually, I'm seeing Austin Green rolling here on some wet weather tires, as well as Boris Said Jr. Those are kind of the guys here mid-pack forward that I see that are still on wet, so we'll see how they fare. We do have quite a number of dry spots developing on the track. Our drivers here are searching for where those are today. Right now, I should say, on these pace laps, trying to build some heat to try to maximize the grip they have on the parts of the track that are still wet.
There might be somebody making a last-minute dash decision. I'm hearing that Scott Lagacy's racing team. There's your championship standings, Rafa Matos. It's so close at the moment, and it's so early in the year. This is only round 3. But you can start to see we've got a pack. Hearn, Austin, Green, Merrill, Slater, Zillix. They're all at the sharp end, and we've got a group of experience and youngsters out there. It really is an exciting time for Trans Am. I'm sure, Tyler, you came just the right time to this series. You came in from Miata, and you created a bit of a stir when you arrived, because at VIR, people didn't know what you had, and suddenly you showed it.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get to that in a second. I just want to touch on the fact that Thad Moffat and looks like Dylan Macklin both held back and have switched to slick tires, so they're going to be starting the race at the back of the field. But I came in, I would say, when the series was really starting to kind of gain a bunch of momentum. I would say maybe there was a couple of us, 1 or 2 of us, that were doing that at the time. Now there's 20 kids that have come in here and are really turning up the wick on all the veterans.
Is that a mistake, what SLR have done?
It may have been a mistake in terms of just their planning ahead of the race. But no, I think the right move here, you're going to get a ton of time coming down pit road during green flag conditions to do a tire change. So I think they've done the right thing here and bit the bullet and will start at the back of the field.
All right, it's tense times as we head out of 7 and down towards 8, 9, and 10. This is the long straight. You see it from the drone, how big this field is. 36 cars in all. Trans Am, in its 57-year history, has never had a bigger field and more interest in the sport. And the beauty of it is, it's youngsters, guys starting out, guys coming from Miata racing, from karting, world champions out there. Then you've got Rafa Matos, an Atlantic champion, a single-seater champion, and an IndyCar driver, Rookie of the Year a few years ago. And now looking for another championship, missing out to Merrill by literally inches last year because it was having to be a countback. We thought Matos had it, he had damage to the car, and Merrill swept through on the last race. Here we go then, round 3 here of the championship, and it is the Bennett BridgeHaul 100 Classic. And in comes the pace car, but so too does one of the three-dimensional services cars. We're away, and Rafa Matos gets the jump and has the start. Everybody jostling for position. Hearn looking up the inside. and does get through. Nicely done. Nathan Hearn gets through on Evan Slater into second place. The wipers on. Good start, though, from the Australian as the Brazilian leads it.
Yeah, they are just hunting for these dry spots right now on the slick tires, trying to build temperature, trying to maintain control of the car. There's definitely some wet spots still on this track as we see them going through the Bennett BridgeHaul S's, just trying to keep the car under them.
Now, this is going to be an interesting race for Hearn because he's been so sensational. What have you made of his driving style? It's so aggressive, and I think Matos is going to be wary of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Nathan is probably one of the most aggressive drivers that I've seen here in this race, and here he's really pressuring Rafa. Maybe try to
Here
dive
comes
on
Merrill on Cruz. Can't quite do it at 6. It's 7.
And looks like Hearn goes inside of Rafa here.
Oh, he's got it.
7. He's got it.
Nathan Hearn of Australia leads his first race.
Yep, and Rafa's gonna tuck in behind here. Yeah, it's pretty wet going down to the brake zone for 10A, so we'll have to see here if he tries something.
Well, I know that Rafa Matos will not want to stay there, and he doesn't. That's nice work by the Brazilian as he regains the lead, and Nathan Hearn knows his place at this point and knows that Rafa is willing to play and play fair, but it's going to be a ding-dong battle between these two as Nathan Hearn gets the drive and comes back at him under the bridge. What a race, and this is only lap 1, folks. Nathan Hearn leads here at Road Atlanta.
Evan Slater staying in really close touch with these front two, doing a great job out there.
Slater now all over Matos too, and what Matos doesn't want to do is lose Slater as well, because then he's going to really have to think hard about how he's going to play this. A 17-year-old and a 20-year-old in front of him. Slater, am I right, has never ridden in the wet in one of these cars.
No, he actually did really well. He finished on the podium at Lime Rock last year.
Of course, excuse me.
As we see, the Bennett BridgeHaul S's are still pretty wet, so they're tiptoeing through here.
And yeah, I mean, do you literally feather the throttle a little more than you would normally, but just in case you don't get that wheel spin?
Absolutely. Yeah, you slow down your inputs a lot.
Look at this. Oh, again, Rafa Matos had a look. This is great. Now, Merrill also in a battle.
Yeah, inside.
Merrill and Zilic. Zilic on the outside at 6. Won't have the line. Merrill will close the door and go through, and he does. Cruz just behind them. So all of our contenders are right where they need to be. We've got pockets of racing as Nathan Hearn is striding out now in front. This is really impressive by the Australian. For some reason, he's getting great drive on that Q3 car. And Nathan Hearn of Australia showing the American field how to run. Really impressive indeed. This is only his 3rd race in America. Excuse me, 4th, because of course he did the last race at COTA last year, got a 4th place there, and look at him go. He's striding out at the front. Is this surprising you, Tyler?
Not really, no. I mean, his driving style, we talked about it being really aggressive, and honestly, that's gonna pay dividends in these kind of conditions. You know, he's going to be able to generate a lot of heat in those tires and those brakes, and not surprised to see his performance up here early just with his driving style.
Well, through goes another overtake on a three-dimensional surfaces, and it's Merrill this time going through on Austin Green. Happy birthday, son. And also Zilic going through as well.
Yeah, I think
Austin Green.
I think Austin Green might have come down and gotten tires or something here. He kind of ended up getting passed by the leaders, so he fell back from something.
Now he's on the wets, right?
Well, he started out on the wets, but I'm not sure, if he's just that much off the pace on the wets or if he has come down for dries. We'll have to see here what he's got.
Now, what's happened to Hearn? Hearn's disappeared. He's gone right backwards. He's lost out on the lead. He's got a lot of dirt. He's made a mistake.
He's got damage on the front. He's made contact with something, spun, potentially hit the tire wall.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's entertaining, that's for sure. On board again with the Australian. Now, he's had some sort of problem. We were looking at that battle quite rightly between Austin Green and Thomas Merrill, but now Rafa Matos is back in the lead, Slater back in 2nd, and Merrill up to 3rd. Hearn is now 4th, and he's got Zilic all over him. Meanwhile, Cruz is also battling, and Inciata, his mate from karting, is right there with him behind him, and Austin Green slotting down and losing paces as they come through 10B. But what a start to this race. Very exciting indeed.
Yeah, Nathan Hearn's really struggling with the damage he has on his nose. I mean, a little bit of contact with anything is going to really hurt the aero, and and hurt your ability to get through these corners. So he's struggling a little bit right now.
You know, I mentioned Adam Andretti and Keith Prochuk, and they are coming forward. Adam Andretti already up to 13th position. He loves these kind of conditions. Prochuk in 17th at the moment.
Yeah, Zilic making a move here on Nathan Hearn in turn 3.
Oh, nice move. That was really impressive by Connor Zilic. You know, it's interesting. I talked to Zilic yesterday, and you forget, you know, he may be a 16-year-old, but he's been racing Brent Cruz for 8 years. That's longer than Merrill and Matos.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, he's a driver to watch out for in this race. I think he's going to have a lot of mistakes.
Here's that
replay.
Move. Ah, there you go.
Oh, no.
Oh, he is lucky ass.
Yeah, we talked about that a minute ago, about this Bennett BridgeHaul S's being really treacherous. They're still really, really wet. He was on the edge there, so he lost it, unfortunately for him, made some contact, and, you know, honestly, the grass is so wet and muddy that I think that ripped the splitter back a little bit on him, so he's going to really struggle here, I think, throughout the rest of this race.
Another look at another incident for her coming into 10 here.
I think he's following Zilic here. He's trying to keep pace, but again, I think he's struggling a little bit with the handling of that car now.
I'll tell you what, luck of the Irish, luck of the Aussies, that was a lucky moment, because he could have easily collected a wall or a banner or anything else and spun around. He somehow held it sideways. Now Merrill under pressure from Zilic. Hearn has caught him. Cruz is there. Nunziata's there. It's getting tight, and it's going to get tighter. Everybody jostling for position here at Road Atlanta. But it's Matos, Slater, Merrill, Zilic, Hearn, Cruz, and Nunziata 7. Boris Said Jr. up to 8th position. And the fastest lap going to Evan Slater at 1:31.2. Got to be pleased with that, Coach.
Absolutely. He's doing a great job sticking with Matos, and he's just got to be consistent here. They're pulling away, it seems like, from the rest of the field, the two of them. So, yeah, he's just got to stay on top of it, and, you know, like I told him, he's got to be there at the end of this thing.
Yeah, he's a great kid. I talked to him yesterday, just 17 years of age, and I said, what are you trying to do with all this? And he goes, you know what? I just want to be a professional. I want to race anything I can. I'd love to get to Indy. I'd love to get to NASCAR, but I don't care. I want to be a professional racing driver. And I remember a certain Tyler Cassera saying the same thing to me.
He's really hungry for it, for sure. I mean, he's always willing to figure out how to improve, and really impressive just with his natural ability and how fast he is. So great to see him making the most of that here early in this race.
Another position made by Dylan Archer and Andretti. They're 12th and 13th now. They're behind Lostowski. I'm keeping an eye on them. Misha Goikerberg also good in the wet. He's in 9th. Boris Said Jr., great start from him as we're back with Hearn now. And this sensational Australian, I love being on board with him and seeing what he gets up to. And as you say, one of the most aggressive drivers we've seen in a long time. I think he's just enjoying the fact that he's got a car underneath him that is, to be fair to the Australian Championship, just a little step further, different tyres, a different generation of car, and just seems to have jumped into this and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the splitter on Nathan Hearn's car right there is dragging the ground, so he is really struggling with the aero on that car at the moment. No, you can't. You've got to make the most of it. It doesn't look like it's anything that's going to be a race ender for him, but he's going to struggle with the pace. Looks like we have a battle brewing, too, here between Connor Zilic and Thomas Merrill.
Looks like Zilic doing a good job, to be fair.
Yeah, looks like Zilic is putting a lot of pressure here on Merrill, so wouldn't doubt he tries a move here into 10 on this lap.
The 18 car just coming in. And we've had a crash out on track while we've been watching the action. No surprises, plenty of action all over. Let's take a look at this, Tyler. Coming into 10A. Obviously, it's a heavy braking point.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Oh,
and
no.
around they go. Well, that's a classic sort of Road Atlanta mistake.
Absolutely.
95 is Luke Rumberg.
Yeah, and Kate in there.
Under safety, as you'd imagine.
Yeah, we've got that car down in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 10 gravel pit. He's going to need a tow out of there for sure. That'll give these guys a moment to breathe, honestly. It's been, the heart rates have all been up here early in this race. A lot of tricky conditions. Looks like they're settling, but this will give them a chance to breathe and regroup here for a restart.
Hearn's taking a line of getting the wets or getting.
I think he was honestly just pulling close to pit wall so his crew could check out the damage.
I see. Good point.
Yep.
All right. Well, we are under caution here. We've got Tyler Cassera alongside B. Jonathan Green. As you can see, the Honda Civic leading the way. Rafa Matos leading the race. But we are under a full course yellow here, so we are going to take a short break here from Road Atlanta. Join us after this when we resume the action. So then, under caution, down towards 6. Would you talk to a driver now a lot or not? Or leave them to it?
Yeah, this is the time when the crew is going to wanting to know how the track is, what the conditions are, how the car is handling. Obviously, there's not much the crew can do for a driver at the moment if they're suffering through something. So, but now is the time for communication. You don't want to do it when everyone's in anger. So, yeah, there'll be a lot of information being traded between driver and team right now.
A lot of people coming into the pits as well. It looks as though several cars changing tyres, looking down into a pit lane. Good time to do it, obviously, during the caution. Now we get to see the guys do their work. We don't do a lot of pit stops in Trans Am, so this is going to be interesting.
No, absolutely. It's these teams are not used to doing this, and you get some single car team here like E2. They've got one crew and one car to deal with. You got a team like Mike Cope Racing. They've got 7 cars under the tent, and honestly, one crew. Really, one car's worth of crew.
Yeah, I hadn't really thought about that. That's a lot of cars if you all come in.
I mean, for them, they don't have to worry about it too much. They all, I think, started here on slick tires, so they don't have to worry too much. But it is something that comes into play, and you end up having to kind of sequence your cars in order to make those tire changes because you just can't do them all at once.
And you can see the dry patches now. We are definitely going to have a dry race now for sure. I can't see any more rain in the offing and I can tell that simply because the wind is not blowing, and usually it blows to bring it in. So we are under caution. We are taking this car that you can see from the onboard of Adrian Rostowski out of the way, and hopefully we will resume action for this race very soon. Always tough in these conditions because, actually for a driver it's actually worse than it looks because it gets hot very quickly when you're going slow. These cars are designed to keep you cool. 2 of the 3-dimensional services cars are coming in. That's the 86.
Boris Jr. looks like, and we've got Austin Green in as well.
So they're going to get onto dry tires now.
Looks like Austin is already on dry tires, so I'm not sure if he has an issue. He was a little off pace there early in the race getting lapped, so I'm not sure if they're going to have to diagnose something there. We've also got Doug Peterson in his 87.
Ty Young, as well. In the 22. So a lot of change here. Boris said coming in from 14th position. And remember, we're scoring points now a lot further and a lot further than we were before. So the top 40 are all in a position to score points. So you don't want to be out on the race too long because there's a good chance of scoring points. Luke Rumberg was involved in that situation. He comes into the pit lane as well. Back on board with Nathan Hearn. He's still circulating, so that's good. But as we've heard, got damage to the splitter.
Yeah, I think his pace is not, as I said, race ending. I think he can probably hold serve here where he's at, but I think he's going to struggle to probably challenge for more unless there's some feistiness that happens ahead of him, which I'm sure he's hoping for at the moment.
So out goes the 87. Peterson.
Yeah, looks like they're doing a tire change here for Boris Sid Jr.
So we should be going to green this time by, and that means Rafa Matos. I'm sure Rafa is probably delighted that he's got rid of at least Hearn for now, because that was livening up to be a really tough battle for Rafa Matos early in the race. What I know about Rafa is he likes to get to the last 10 laps with a good set of tyres and knows he can go for, if you like, that last sprint. He likes to save his breath in the terms of tyres, and he did not want to get into a Barney with Nathan Hearn for 80 miles, did he?
Absolutely not. No, we identified the veterans, Matos and Merrill, were going to get pressure from Slater, Hearn, and Cruz early in this race, and so yeah, that takes kind of one of those dominoes out of play here for Matos. But he does have Evan Slater, who's got a lot of pace right on his bumpers. So we'll see if Evan can do something with Rafa here on this restart.
Yeah, and also Merrill, I'm sure, will be thinking exactly the same thing. Behind Evan Slater, just 17 years of age. Merrill in third, our champion, got so much experience, the man from Salinas, California. We're about to restart, and away we go, and a good restart by Merrill. He looks to the inside to try and get past Slater, and also behind him, Hearn gets a good start. Cruz is there, and Enciata sandwiched there with the number 10 of Misha Goikberg. Goikberg getting through on board with Hearn. He loses out to the 51 of Darren Mark.
Yeah, I think
and the 41.
Hearn has a problem here. I believe
Hearn's struggling.
I believe he may have a tire going down or something as a result of that damage. So yeah, he's going to have to limp it around and try to keep the car in one piece here. If we get that tire change, that's what the issue is.
Well, we've got some great fights, and Merrill right there where he needs to be, but Slater doing a good job at that restart. Very good job for the restart. But Zillage is the man on the move now. Connor Zillage up to 4th place. He's got ahead of Brent Cruz. Misha Goikberg on the way up. And like I said, I'm watching out. Andretti now up to 11th. Rostowski 10. Keeping an eye on that. We've gone all the way back to Mock. But watch out for Rostowski and Andretti joining the battle. And a good start also from Dylan Archer. Hats off to him, the young Texan, up to 12th now. He needs a good result out of this one.
Absolutely. I mean, these are really tricky conditions. He's doing a great job. And we've got a pass here for second place. We've got Thomas Merrill, who just took the place away here from Evan Slater.
Yeah, so good move by Merrill. Nice, clean move as well. And that's experience showing. And now Matos knows what he's got behind him. He's got a hard charging. Come on, Slater. Let's see if he can do it. He gets out and to the inside again, but he can't quite. Or can he? No. He's still looking. Gets some drive. Up the hill they go. Merrill will close the door, and he does so. And now we've got a real battle because Cruz has joined it, and Misha Goikberg is about to join it. The Canadian on board with Lostowski. Like I said, Lostowski, Archer. Archer's got ahead of Prochuk, and so we've got some real movement as there's a group behind Darren Mock, which includes Andretti, Lostowski, and Archer, all coming forward. And this is starting to get very interesting indeed. 10 of the 40 laps gone. Oh, Hearn is in, and that looks pretty terminal to me, Tyler.
Yeah, it looks like it was something probably to do with the radiator. Might have punched a hole in that off course. Not quite sure here what exactly the problem is. Also could have just packed the grill with grass, but it looks like they're not rushing around too much, so it looks like that probably is terminal for him today.
You know, this is an incredible start to the race. All the guys are literally less than a second between each other in the top 10 in terms of their pace. And look at this, here we go for the lead. Thomas Merrill looking at 10. Can he go around the outside? He can, you know. He's got the line to 10B. And Thomas Merrill, our champion, takes the lead. But for how long? Because back comes Rafa. Under the bridge they come, down towards our commentary position. And the final turn here, turn 12 at Road Atlanta. What a race this is turning out to be. And it's the champion who leads, Thomas Merrill, at the moment.
Zillage also attempted to pass on Slater there into Big Machine Vodka's Flight Coolers turn 10. It's really heating up here in the top 5 for sure.
Well, this is the Merrill we expected to see. Merrill bouncing over the curves. Now, let's take a look. Tyler, you tell me what you see.
Yeah, I mean, this is just Merrill being great on the brakes, sending it in there really, really deep. You know, he's not afraid of the outside there because that puts him in a really great spot for 10B in the run under the bridge. So really smart move there on Merrill's part.
And also it's rare because you usually see the inside move to do the overtake at 10A.
Yeah.
But he chose to use the outside and then really had to put on the anchors. Misha Goikberg having a good race, and somebody said before the race, watch out for him. He's been doing single-seaters as well this weekend, so he's had a lot of time out on track. But I think he loves these sort of varying conditions. And he, of course, has been around for quite a few years here in our Trans Am Championship as we go back on board with Lostowski currently in 10th. He's got Andretti in front of him. And these two now in the top 10. Archer 11. McAvern hasn't shown just yet. And there is the deflated, if you like, Nathan Hearn. Fastest lap, though, Thomas Merrill at 127.2. And Hearn out of the car. And it's game over for the Australian. But I think it's going to be one of those years, a learning year. And there's going to be times where he's going to be spectacular. Well, I think he's always going to be spectacular. There's going to be times where he pulls it off and times where he makes the odd mistake. But the Q3 guys are with him for the endurance, and it's going to be fun. There's our first look at Andretti.
Yeah, Andretti really has turned up the wick here in this race and made a lot of great progress. So good to see him kind of moving up. Dylan Archer there.
And McAvern. Dylan McAvern, of course, I mean, he's got bags of time around the circuit and wins to his name. So we're expecting Dylan McAvern. He's coming back from illness, so he may not be as sharp as he wants to be. Well, it's a special weekend for him, so I'll talk about that as he comes through. He's in 12th at the moment, so we're on board with Dylan Archer just ahead of him.
Yeah, as we mentioned, McAvern, too. I mean, he started this race from the back. They did a tire change there on the grid and had to start from the back, so he's made a ton of progress through this field. And definitely somebody to look out for here as this race winds down.
Tom Sheehan in the top 20. Caleb Bacon going forward. So too Michelle Abate. Much better by her. She's in 18th position. Well, we've been talking about Nathan Herne. Let's head down to the pit lane. Ben Sissel has got to him.
Well, thanks, gentlemen. I'm with Nathan Herne, a heartbroken Nathan Herne, who had the lead. Nathan, what happened?
I just made a mistake. I don't know. I've raced for a long time. I don't do that stuff. So the fact that it happens, I'm beyond gutted. I don't even know what to say to the team. We've had a rough year so far. So, I mean, both qualified to start off the back, and now we actually had a chance at the front, and I blew it for the whole team. And I don't even know what to say. I'm just purely rotten with myself right now. But it's done. I can't do anything about it. So I got 7 weeks of thinking about this, and it'll keep me up late at night. I'm sure about that. But we'll move on.
Well, that's Nathan Herne, heartbroken, from Cube 3 Architecture, Interiors and Planning, and Joe Stevens Miller Racing. Back to you, gentlemen.
Well, he certainly wears his heart on his sleeve. I love to hear a racing driver both admit that he was at fault. And also, you forget, he has had 2 sensational runs from the back in the first 2 rounds where the luck was not on his side, but he made good of it. And this time, the blame is on him, and he took it.
Yeah, unfortunately, that was all his fault there.
Now, check this out, Tyler.
Yeah, we've got a pass here. Brent Cruz on Connor Zilic.
Now, Cruz is in the red and white, and Zilic just makes a mistake there under braking, doesn't he? And in fact, he was kind of blocked, and so he had to take avoiding action. That allowed Cruz to come through. Good stuff there by my man Lake. Yeah, but Rafa Matos now down in 3rd place. Oh no, he's going past Ty Young. I thought for a moment there he's dropped back. Ty Young had just been in the pit, so Rafa now in traffic and making his way through. So got to be careful, and this is a tough time for any racing driver when you're starting to see guys that aren't maybe as fast as you. And now look at Brent Cruz. He's got the bit between his teeth. The 2 youngsters, Brent Cruz, winner last time out, and Evan Slater going at it.
Yeah, and Thomas Merrill's pulling away, it seems like, from Rafa, so they're all settling in, but this battle here between Evan Slater, Brent Cruz, and Connor Zilic is really heating up here. And looks like Brent's got a pretty good car, a bunch of mud there on his front end, so he's had somebody off in front of him, but he's making progress with the field here and looking to get ahead of Evan Slater.
I talked to Brent yesterday. Of course, he won the last race, just 14 years of age. And he's a man of few words, but then not many 14-year-olds have lots of words to say. But he does his racing, let the talking do. And Rafa Matos still making his way through traffic. But yeah, I asked Brent if he was doing any other racing, and he said, yeah, he's doing a little bit of late model, and he's going to do some ARCA at the end of the season, but right at the end, he's going to do some dirt racing. So, he's keeping his eye in, and that's important. And you made a good point to me. A lot of these guys are racing a lot. Slater is just doing this championship.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the most impressive things I think about Slater.
Here we go.
We got a pass here. Connor Zilic trying to take back that position from Brent Cruz.
Well, he's done it nicely. That was good work. After the mistake he made at exactly that point for the last lap, that's a good recovery from Zilic.
Yeah, he's showing some pretty good pace here. So I think he's got to recover from that little bit of the mistake he made, and looks like he's going to continue to move forward.
This is a great race, and it's so much to go from it. We're only 15 laps into 40, so there's a long way to go. How do the tyres work when it's wet dry like this? Do you get more grip and more length or longevity with them, or less?
Well, I would kind of look at this race like it's a full dry race, and it has been really from the beginning. So, I think tires and brakes people are still going to be trying to conserve. But honestly, with the competition the way it is in the series right now, people are going 100% from start to finish. So throwing the cars around a lot. And these Pirelli tires are taking it for sure. A bit surprised a little bit at our last round how Nathan Herne was throwing the car around and still had some left at the end. So, no, I think these guys are flat out at the moment, just trying to get everything they can.
We got a glimpse there. There's Lostowski. There's McAvern making up a place. And we're on board now with Lostowski as he dives into 7. Got a glimpse there also of Annunziata. Annunziata currently in 7th. Remember, he was popular last time out at NOLA 2 weeks ago and got stalled on the line. Bitter disappointment, but drove like a maniac all the way through the field to a really good result in the top 5. And he'll want to do the same again. But he's struggling a little bit. He was up the sharp end a moment ago, but down to 7th. Behind Goikberg, who's got past him. Brett Cruz 5th, and we're on board with Lostowski. Lostowski currently in 10th place. I love looking at the bottom left to see how comfortable they look while driving the car. And you can always tell whether the car's set up right by the amount of movement on the wheel.
Oh, we got Connor Zilic here, who's jumped ahead of Evan Slater.
All over Slater. Slater's not a... Slater and Zilic going at it. Zilic, of course, came your way. He's racing in Miatas. And he was vice champion last year, and he's going back at it this year. But actually, and you told me this a long time ago, Miatas doesn't sound like the obvious place to learn your Trans Am chops, but it has been really useful for both you and for him, Connor Zilic.
Yeah, there's a lot of momentum car drivers out here. We've got, Connor Zilic, Rob Clifton in the B2 car, comes from Spec Racers.
Yeah, no question. And we're seeing more and more of the guys that are coming from karting and Miatas. So it really is an open game. And even though you've got 550 brake horsepower, these guys take to it like a duck to water.
Yeah, it's honestly the momentum car aspect that you learn in terms of carrying speed and how to carry speed into a corner that pays dividends here. And it takes a little bit of adaptation, but it's hard to teach somebody that who just starts out in a high horsepower car. So we've got Matos taking over some lap traffic here, but yeah, pairing momentum car techniques with a little bit of the high horsepower point and shoot, is something that pays dividends in this series in these big machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 cars.
We're getting into an intriguing part of the race because you've got to be careful here. Zilic, as you can see, biding his time or having to bide his time through the S's. A sudden move or a sudden overtake when the man in front of you, who may not be as quick as you, this is Roberto Sabato, is going past. Rafa already has done that. As you can see now, Slater's stuck behind him, and they've got to be careful. They're in their own race. They have every right to do what they're doing. He's down in 28th at the moment, and he's just on a different pace and in a different race than these two. And so they've got to bide their time because it can be trouble if you don't get it right and they don't see it. You can see Rafa, Merrill, everybody just tiptoeing around there. The conditions are tough. Let's face it, you can see now from the drone that we have got a dry line, and pretty much, as you said, this is going to be a pretty dry race for the rest of the 100 miles. Through go the leaders. Brent Cruz, the last to go through on Sabato at turn 10A.
Yeah, and so being able to process this lap traffic efficiently is like, free lap time for these guys. So, we saw
no question about it. Zilic's the man to watch at the moment. 1:25.5. He's just done the fastest lap of the race. He's in third. Matos second. Merrill, I stopped you. What are your thoughts?
No, I was just saying, yeah, being able to process the lap cars here is really important and can help you stretch the gap. We saw Evan Slater get held up there a bit by Sabato in turn 7. Kind of cost him the entire straightaway. So, processing the lap traffic is really key at this point in the race.
So Merrill, Matos, and Zilic. That's your top 3. Slater, we've been watching a lot. He's down in 4th now. He's got Cruz, Goikberg coming quick, Annunziato 7th, Mont up to 8th, Andretti now in the top 10, and Lostowski rounding out that top 10 with McAvern coming fast too. Archer, Borchetta, Prochuk and Bacon. I expected Borchetta and Prochuk to also be in the run, and they are. We're back on board with Austin Green, who's back out there making his way through.
Actually, on that last lap, I just saw a shot here of Thomas Merrill. Looked like he was right in front of Rafa. And here we go. This is Austin Green. But Rafa was right in front Merrill was right in front of Rafa. And so I don't know if he had a little slip up or some of that lap traffic got in the way.
Yeah, maybe. So we'll keep an eye on that. But this is a dynamic race, really good stuff. We've had a start to the day which was pouring down with rain from about 8 a.m. this morning, torrential rain. And there has been some heavy tornadoes and rain overnight yesterday as well. So we kind of expected it. And we knew it was coming.
Got Austin Green here going by Keith Proshek.
Yep.
I'm not actually sure if this is for position at the moment.
Yeah, I'm trying to work out that. Austin Green, I think, is further down. I think he's making up places. Yeah, he's down in 28, so he's just trying to get back on board and get back into the race a little bit up. Had that pit stop.
Yeah, he's trying to make the most of this opportunity, the track time, just to gather data, learn. Looks like he probably, I believe he's a lap down.
Austin Green joining this three-dimensional services team this year. Of course, his father, a famous Xfinity champion back in his day, so he's following and continuing the family tradition. But this is first real major team to be part of. Three-dimensional services group, without doubt, one of our crack teams in the series.
On board here, we're seeing him try to get past Scott Borchetta.
So a good battle right at the back there. This is for 28th position. Austin Green having come back on to the track.
Connor Zilich has tracked down Rafa Matos.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he?
Absolutely. So he looks like he's got a really spicy car there. He's and Matos and Merrill are together. So these top three have really closed it up. We've got Slater there, a little bit of a gap back to him, and then Brent Cruz. So yeah, things are going to start heating up here in the top three. Merrill's might have his hands full here in a few laps.
Yeah, the Silverherd Racing, Connor Zilich, the man to watch. He just done the fastest lap of the race last time out, 125.2. So definitely one to watch. Here we go. Oh, side by side into 6.
Outside move in three-dimensional services group, turn 6.
Back comes Matos. Lovely stuff. Zilich will get the drive, maybe, and maybe try and get a slipstream into 10. You can see it for yourself as they come under the Motul Bridge. Zilich behind the all-yellow car of Matos. Merrill the leader just ahead, but here comes Zilich. But he's being blocked quite nicely by Matos, who wants the inside line. He's giving Zilich the outside line. Can Zilich do what he did before? Matos said, no, I'm wise to that this time. Robbins racing, right? That was good stuff.
Absolutely. That was a great move there on Matos' part to kind of keep Zilich at bay. He got in there, made a little bit of a late turn in, parked him a little bit, got the edge up into turn 10B and got a good run under the bridge. So maintained the position there.
But what Rafa doesn't want to do is get embroiled in a to and fro with Zilich, because that's only going to play into Merrill's hands as he increases that lead. The gap at the moment, 1.5 seconds. And what Matos wants to do is try and break the back of this little battle right now, doesn't he?
Yeah, we saw Merrill pull away a little bit there just with that little side-by-side between Matos and Zilich. So, yeah, he wants to settle in. I'm sure Zilich wants to get by him as quickly as possible and make the most of what he can and try to get by Merrill as well for the lead.
This is the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series, the Bennett BridgeHaul 100 Classic, and so far it's nicely burbling up to be a classic too. Road Atlanta always throws up great racing. We go back on board with the ASIO Data Barry Bowes car. Barry Bowes currently down in, 17th position. He's chasing Tad Moffitt, the grandson, of course, of Richard Petty. I'm sure he doesn't need to be reminded of that every weekend, but he is carrying the famous 43, so we can't avoid it. It's great to have people like Bill Elliott and Richard Petty's name being involved still in Trans Am. We saw Bill Elliott in action yesterday in SVRA, and of course we heard from him this morning. We go back through the S's and back up the hill with Barry. Been a good couple of years for Barry Bowes. They started off in pretty meager situations, a bit like yourself, a small team. But he's got better and better and put more time into it and got better equipment as the years have gone on, and he really is starting to show and get better results and good point scoring positions.
Yeah, it appears actually we did have a change of position that Brent Cruz got by Evan Slater. I would assume that probably happened down the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 10, but we didn't see it. I just saw them here come by start finish. So
Brent Cruz up to 4th place behind Rafa Matos now in 3rd. Connor Zilich still the man on the move. Another car in the pit lane, but not in contention.
Looks like Bruce Raymond coming down pit lane.
Back on board with Dylan Archer now. Archer down in, 15th place. He's got Caleb Bacon. Bacon's done a really good job of coming through the field. He's up to 14th position. So this is the best run so far in his career at Trans Am Racing. Caleb Bacon, one of the newcomers, up to 14th position. He's going to score good points if he stays there.
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive because I believe I saw him during qualifying pull in on the outlap. So didn't get a time. I believe he had to start from the back. Good progress by him to get up where he is.
Rafa Matos got his first win in 2018 here, and the rest is history, as they say. Two-time champion, should really be three, but it all went horribly wrong at COTA. So this year is about making amends for what happened at the end of last year and bringing another title to this great champion.
Yeah, we didn't see it, but Connor Zilic did manage to get by Matos somewhere on that lap. So the running order now would be Merrill, Zilic, Matos, followed by Cruz and Slater.
Yep. In comes the 54. That's Bruce Raymond in the pits. And there's Abate. Now she's going slow and into the pits. So problems for Michelle Abate. Oh, no, she's not going in the pits.
It looks like a right front tire.
It's a rear. Yeah, I think that's a puncture on the right rear, don't you think?
It looked like actually there might have been an issue with the right front suspension. It looked like it was collapsed. So don't know if that was a result of contact or if that was just a failure. But she's definitely not sure that she's going to be able to make it back to pit road. We'll have to see her.
Back on board with Scott Borchetta in the office in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers car. He's a real fan, not only of racing, but of the sport itself. He is an absolute historian, has a fantastic collection of cars, race cars and race suits, helmets, you name it. Big Unser fan, loves following the Unsers over the years. It's going to be interesting how Scott Borchetta, who will be out again plenty of times today because he does a lot of SVRA racing as well. That's how he learned how to race in Trans Am, was he was doing SVRA and getting coaching, and then finally came forward. So it's a good story. Scott Borchetta, obviously from the music industry, and has got a great bunch of accolades in that industry, but now turning to racing and making a really good job of it too. He's got a lot of respect within the industry now as he gets better and better.
Yeah, Scott's got great pace. I mean, he's always been impressive. Last year, definitely on the podium and at Nashville. So looks like here we've got Connor Zilic. He's
all over him, isn't he?
Yeah, he got by Matos and has set sail. He's tracked down Merrill and is starting to put a lot of pressure on him. So we'll look for him to start challenging here for the lead here in probably the next lap.
You can see that Merrill's got the gap on him down the long straight from the drone, but he's not close enough to make an attempt. He's going to have to work harder if he wants to make the attempt here at 10A. He might rethink this and say, okay, well, I'm faster than him in the middle section, but not here. Back up the hill.
Lightweighting means reducing mass and consolidating parts. No one tackles these design and tooling challenges better than Three-Dimensional Services. We'll provide flexible tooling solutions, including integrating parts, reducing design complexity, or even design changes. We're the go-to source for rapid manufacturing and low-volume production. Trust Three-Dimensional Services to develop the most efficient approach to meet your lightweighting challenges today. Three-Dimensional Services. Prototype, production, proven.
We're at a commercial break.
Welcome back to the Mission Foods Atlanta SpeedTour from Road Atlanta, and you're watching the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series and the Bennett BridgeHaul 100 Classic. Now, Silver Hair Racing have been right at the sharp end, Zillage pushing Merrill for the lead. Let's head down to the pit lane and hear what the latest is from that team in Ben System.
Yeah, thanks, gentlemen. I'm here with Jeff Holley, who's talking to Cameron Zillage. Done so well. I think he started 7th, moved his way up to 2nd. What's he saying on the radio?
He's been pretty quiet. He's pretty happy with the car right now, so we're just trying to make him stay focused and remember to breathe. So,
nice. And if you remember Circuit of the Americas, the Connor Zillage behind Thomas Merrill really makes for a good race. He does a really good job. One of our young guns. Then back here, we're going to try to find Michelle Abadi, who just came out with right front damage. I'm not sure what it was, but it looks like maybe some shocks in this beautiful Lucas Oil Ghost car. But Michelle, so sad that you're out. What happened out there?
I think I lost a ball joint. I mean, nothing violent happened in the car. Nothing. I was just kind of cruising at my own pace and came at a 5. The left-hander and the right hand of the car just slammed down. So something definitely had a failure on the car.
How is it out there? What are the conditions like?
There's a lot of grip out there. You know, there's a couple spots with puddles where if you're on a slick, you're going to slide a bit. We're on a slick. But, yeah, I mean, it's grippier than you would think, and I think it's just a matter of kind of dodging those puddles if you don't have rain tires, and if you have them, you want to aim for them for sure. But definitely a bummer for us in the Ghost Energy Lucas Oil number 30 TA2 car. I mean, it's just they're going to try to get me back out there if this caution's long enough, so we'll see. But dang it, man, I just wanted to finish here today, and it's all right. On to the next if I don't.
Michelle Abadi, gentlemen, back up to you in the booth.
Well, we've got more drama coming here because we've just heard, or just seen, in fact, in front of me, the black flag is out. And, Tyler, that means that everybody's coming in, and that will probably be to that because of that incident, yeah?
Yeah, just in terms of getting all the safety vehicles, they can't go off track with as wet as it's been, so they've got to be on the racing surface.
Yeah.
So that's probably why they're bringing everybody down pit road here. We're gonna sit on pit road for a bit here while they continue that cleanup effort. And the crew's not going to be able to touch the cars.
Yeah, that's what makes it interesting. It's a strange situation in Black Flag because you all come in, but there's really not a lot you can do except talk.
No, I mean, you'll induce a penalty, if anybody touches the car, even touches the car. So, the crew.
Well, we saw that in Formula One just the other day. Yeah, you don't want to touch the car; it can cause you a problem. Alonso knows that.
Yeah. But it is a time to go inspect if you have any damage. You get a crew guy's eyes on it really close. And get kind of a report as to how bad it is. So, I mean, it is a useful time, but unfortunately, you're just not able to do too much here in the Black Flag.
Well, Coach, it gives us time to talk about your boy, Evan Slater. You've been helping him try to get better at what he's doing at just 17. He's 5th at the moment, but so far, I would say pretty impressive because the conditions aren't easy, the racing's hard, and he's holding his own.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like he opened up the race with a lot of pace. He had a really good start. He's had a good restart. But these other guys, we're talking Merrill, Zillage, Cruz, they've turned up the wick a little bit here after the restart. So, he's maintaining pace, and he's kind of a driver that typically settles in and will conserve something. So I wouldn't count him out. I think he may have a good car here left at the end. Once we go back running down towards the end of this race.
Well, it's time for the crowd to take their lunch as they do, because there's nothing they're missing. Into the pit lane come all the drivers and all the teams getting ready to greet them, but they can't touch the cars. So it really is just a pause in the race. Black flag after lap 27 of 40 here, round 3 of the 2023 TA2 series.
Yeah, just looking at the cars here as they're coming down pit road. Just trying to look here to see who's got what kind of tire rubs or damage or any of that. And Connor Zillage missing all the lettering on the left front. I think that was probably from when he made that pass on Rafa. It looked like they did make a little bit of side-to-side contact. But, everybody else's car, aside from, all this red Georgia clay that's everywhere, looks pretty clean. So not too much other damage that I can see.
I'm looking at who might benefit from a restart of this. I'm thinking of people like Annunziata, Mock, Andretti, Goikhberg, another one, and Evan Slater, man, we've been talking about. I think they're going to really challenge some of the top 3, 4 if you include Brent Cruz. There's Zilich's car. That Camaro has been on great form. And looking to see what this is one of the best runs he's had. He and Slater have been the sort of dark horses. Brent Cruz taking a lot of the accolades with that win last time out, and Nathan Hearn getting on the podium with Rafa Matos in 3rd.
Yeah, the one thing you saw Jeff Hawley there, he had a rag in his hand. Sometimes under these black flags, they will allow you to clean the grass and the debris off the grills. Obviously, these cars will overheat pretty quickly if those grills get packed, and so they may allow teams to do that. We see that crew guy here running towards Adrian's car, clean the windshield, probably clean the grill, and that's probably all that they're going to allow him.
So you are allowed to do that. Okay, there you go. Well, we just got that confirmed, and Lostowski agreeing that that's what he'd like.
Yeah.
So we are at a standstill. Tyler Casera, great to have him on board here, a 2-time winner in this series, waiting to get back out there. We're going to take a short break here from the Mission Foods Road Atlanta circuit. We'll be right back.
A force of nature? Man, that's good water. I feel like Chuck Norris. Seaforce water is a force of nature. What can it do for you?
Welcome back to the Mission Foods Atlanta SpeedTour here at Road Atlanta. We are at a complete standstill. We're on board with Austin Green, but you can see no movement here as all the cars are in the pit lane because we are under a black flag situation here in the Bennett BridgeHaul 100. And this is always an interesting time. 28 of the 40 gone. So really, Tyler Casera alongside me, Jonathan Green, we're looking at a 10-lap sprint now. Conditions are perfect. Better than they were at the start of the race. Everybody's back on slicks now. Can't touch the cars. I can see that some of the drivers are being talked to. What do you do in this situation?
Well, they're lucky that it's not too warm out today. I mean, these cars get really, really hot on the interior. We've got exhaust headers. Yeah, we've got exhaust headers that that come up over the transmission and are really close to the driver's feet. You don't have hood vents for the cooling system, so really the driver's compartment of this car will be 130, 140 degrees in a lot of cases.
Wow.
You add on top of that a really warm day, and coming down and sitting on pit road can be absolutely excruciating as a driver. So it's good today. It's got a little bit of a breeze. The wind is not too much, but and the temperature is down. So the drivers are probably not too uncomfortable, but they've just come off the track full adrenaline. They want to be back on the track. This is kind of a time for people to gather their thoughts, but at the same time, the longer they sit here, the more that the tension builds within them, and they all want to get back on track as quickly as possible and kind of put all the thoughts that are running through their heads, at ease. And now is the time when they're all going to be thinking about the race they've had so far and what they need to do kind of when things go back to green.
Well, now we've got a little time, tell you the story of the championship so far. Connor Mosack won the first race at Sebring ahead of Matos in second and Austin Green in third. Merrill, our champion, was fourth. At NOLA, it was Brent Cruz who got a win, his first of the season. Hearn was second and Matos third. Zilich, Annunziato and Merrill the top six. Let's head down to the pit lane, though, now and find out what's going on with Ben Sissel.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. As you can see, all of the cars are lined up here at Black Flag. I'm with the leader, Thomas Merrill, who finished on the podium last year. Thomas, what's the grip level like out there?
You know, the grip's not half bad. It was really sketchy at the start. I was impressed with some of these guys up front, the amount of risks they were willing to take, and I was just trying not to do anything silly and keep our Bennett Mustang up front.
Nice. And this being a Bennett weekend, you're doing a great job at that. Now, we saw at Circuit of the Americas this great shootout battle last couple laps between you and Connor Zilich. Going into this next shootout, is it nice to know that you can trust the driver behind you?
I'll have to take your word for that one. Coda was a long time ago, and no, Connor's a great kid and wise beyond his years, so absolutely. I enjoy sharing the racetrack with him, and I hope we can get going again. I just got my eyes and my thoughts on our boy Scott Borchetta there. That looks like a big hit. I just really hope he's okay, man. He's such a great guy. He does a lot for our series, and I'd like to see him walk away from that one.
Nice. Thank you, Thomas Merrill, here with BridgeHaul, HP Tuners, and Bennett at the weekend. Yeah, our thoughts go out to Scott Borchetta and the Borchetta team as I'm talking here. Connor Zilich in this beautiful Chevrolet flat black doing really well. I think you started 7th up to 2nd. What's your strategy when this green flag drops?
Yeah, I know I have a lot of speed in my silver hair Camaro here, so when we go back green, I just got to keep it on the track and let the speed take me where it needs to take me, and focus in my windshield and not my rearview mirror, and try and go get ourselves our first win here.
Nice. He says, try to get ourselves our first win here. That's with silver hair. Now we come down here to three-dimensional services group. Rafa Matos, a two-time TA2 champion, a winner here at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Rafa, green flag drops. I've seen you take your gloves off. What's your strategy?
Well, just drinking some water here and thinking about the race. We're running through some gearbox problems right now, so I'm having to hold second gear, otherwise it pops in neutral. So a little bit of challenge, but if I can manage that, I think we have a good enough pace to challenge for the lead.
Nice. Well, Tyler Casera, when we come back to you, you're going to have to tell us where we're going into second around Road Atlanta and what it means if it pops into neutral. Now Brent Cruz, already a winner in the series this season at NOLA. Really good here at Road Atlanta. When the green flag drops, what's your strategy?
Yeah, I don't know. I think we have pretty good pace. I think we'll have a shot to win this thing when this thing goes back green. I think we have a really strong number 70 Franklin Road Imperial race car. I think it's going to be really strong to fire off, and we'll see if I can get Rafa. I think just to get a good finish would be nice here, especially with all the conditions. Definitely want a championship race, but it's also hard to pass away a win, right? So just a combination of both, of being smart and wanting to win.
Brent Cruz, I love the confidence of these drivers, and talking to them with everything they've just been going through this afternoon, they're so calm. So now coming to Evan Slater, another person in the contention with the championship, but also the young guns. Evan, what's your strategy when the green flag drops? You've lost a few places here.
Yeah, we lost a few places. We had a good initial start. The car was really hooked up, but as the tires burnt off, it uncovered a little bit of a few setup issues. So it's a little loose on the exit, so we're just going to try and manage that. Be really aggressive on the restart, try and make up those places that we lost. I think we still have really good potential for a podium. I think the Franklin Road Apparel and Showtime Motorsports team gave me a great car. So yeah, I think we're still in this. Not where we want to be, but I think we're still in the fight.
Nice. I love it. Not where we want to be, he says, but he's got the fight and he's got his eyes on the podium. Now look at this. This is the first one we've seen with this window defroster. Maybe the Canadians know something that we don't. Misha Goikberg doing really well here at Road Atlanta. Misha, tell us your strategy when the green flag drops.
Try to keep the car safe.
see what comes to us and try to move up a couple positions and see where we end up. We just need a good result, need to finish a race. Car has been awesome. So I just hope we go back to green and get a bunch of laps still too, because we all love racing.
Yeah, it seems like all of the drivers want to go back to green. As we come here, Thomas Annunziata. Thomas, how is it out there?
It's starting to get dry. It's still very treacherous, but it's definitely dry now. Taking a little bit to get going. We started going there at the end. We can still pick up a few more tenths of a second, I think, and stick with the front guys if we get a good start here. But very slick in the beginning. Try not to put it in the wall.
He said it's very slick in the beginning, but with Nerd Focus and Nitro Motorsports, Thomas Annunziata, as we've seen, doing really well. But Darren Mock, man, Darren, you are just going after it out there. How is it?
It's really good. It was a little bit slick to start, but track's pretty dry now. We got a good piece, so I think we can march a little bit closer to the front.
He just said he's got to go pee. I love it. Oh, hopefully we won't see any fluids leaking from that car. The A&D Adjusters, Nitro Motorsports, Darren Mock Ford Mustang. And then Ultimate Headers, number 41, Adam Andretti. Adam, how is it out there?
Oh, typical Trans Am racing, just crazy as ever. And, I couldn't be more proud of what we're doing over here with this old car. It's really an amazing job by the Ultimate Headers group, and just honored to drive for an owner like John Cloud. And we're giving this thing a heck of a ride. It's a lot of fun. It is crazy, but it's been a really good race. And we're rounding up the month of March, which is Colorectal Awareness Month. So I want to remind all the viewers and remind those at home and our fans, go get checked out. And if you're in need of any advice, assistance, and help in any way, check us out for Check It for Andretti, and we can help you in that journey. But again, just really happy, proud to be here with Trans Am. Thank you to the fans. Thank you to Greenlight TV and you guys. Appreciate you all.
Cool. Adam Andretti, so happy to see you back out here in a TA2 car. And the last one I'm going to talk to, Dylan McIvern, who had to start at the back of the grid. I guess they weren't finished changing his tires with the 1 minute board, which is a rule, so they held back Thad Moffitt and Dylan McIvern. But Dylan, we're going to talk to you real quick. How is it out there, and how have you made your way through the field?
Yeah, first and foremost, my thoughts are with Scott Borchetta. I just want to make sure he's doing all right. Yeah, definitely disappointing to have to start from the rear after a pretty good qualifying session. The SLR Mustang's fast, man. This car is really quick right now. Like I said, it's pretty unfortunate that we had to start in the back because I think we would have had something. But yeah, we were just methodically picking our way through the field. The car's got a lot of drive right now. And I'm hoping we go green again, but either way, it's a good effort by the crew today.
Nice. Yeah, Dylan McIvern, always impressive in the series. But, Jonathan, I'm hearing in my ear that you've got some news for us, so I'm going to send it back up to you guys up in the booth with Jonathan and Tyler.
Yeah, thanks, Ben. Great work, by the way. Excellent stuff by both you and Tony to get us the real insight, and always interesting. I was really, really impressed with Evan Slater's frame of mind, if not all of them, but he was right on it. He's got a loose rear end. He's just going to manage it, but he seems so calm.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty collected. It seems like dealing with a loose car here, especially in these kind of conditions where it's still wet in some spots, is definitely tricky. So yeah, we'll see what he's got, and like he said, I think these guys get to racing ahead of him, and he can probably capitalize on that.
I'm going to throw the news I've just picked up from Race Control straight at you. You're the man looking after him, and I wonder what advice you'd give him. We've just heard we're probably going to try to get to green again in about 10 minutes. That's 1:30 local time. And we're then going to have a 15-minute window to run the rest of this race. So forget the laps. We're going to go for a 15-minute race. So I'm guessing, 6 or 7 laps? And what advice is it? It's just go hell-bent for leather, right?
Yeah, absolutely. If there was any conservation in your strategy early in this race, that's out the window. You are going to be full push for the rest of this race, and I expect to see a lot of moving and shaking here at the front. A lot of people pressuring others. A lot of people trying to take spots away. Maybe not even when they're given the spot, but they're going to start taking spots. And we hope it's clean. But these kinds of situations make for some really interesting racing. And yeah, excited to see us go green again here.
I want to do a big shout out to Caleb Bacon. He got 35th position in Sebring, 23rd position last time out at NOLA, and he's sitting currently in 13th position overall. Really, really impressive by him. Also, another shout out I want to give to Parker DeLong, joining us back in here. He is moving up the board as well, done a really good job.
Yeah, it's good, man. Thank you.
Getting to hear from some of the drivers as we go down to the back towards the rest of the field. There's Barry Bowes. Hi, Mom. Hope you're watching back in Texas.
Yeah, I want to take a second to say hello to my family at home.
There you go.
I know a lot of people that are watching. I'm not in a race car, but I'm on TV today. So, hi, everybody.
I know your dad will be watching.
Absolutely. Yeah, they're missing the racetrack for sure. You know, for me, it's a big family deal, even when I'm driving for another team. So.
Well, as you can see, we're still under black flag situations here, but we will be going racing, hopefully, locally in about 10 minutes. So join us after this break.
If your tooling isn't quite ready, and you need parts, and you need more parts than just a few, or if your run is just not that big, look to the experts in low-volume production, three-dimensional services. Whether it's 10, 100, or 1,000 parts, we can meet your needs. And if it's 10,000, we can do that too. Three-dimensional services delivers high-quality parts for short runs, 70% faster than industry standards. Three-dimensional services. Prototype, production, proven.
I'm Richard Petty, and you might say I've had a fairly successful driving career. And you know the secret of my success? Having a good support team around me when I need it. Whether you're a route driver, over-the-road trucker, or you're interested in driving special purpose vehicles, Clean Harbors is the kind of place where you can build a long driving career. Do yourself a favor, give Clean Harbors a call.
Lightweighting means...
Welcome back. Yeah, we just heard from Richard Petty here, and just a nice little sort of segue. Tad Moffitt, his grandson, racing in Trans Am this year and really finding his way. This is his first outing, certainly one of the hardest races so far of his young career. He's currently in 14th position. He's had two 12th place finishes. Never raced one of these cars in the wet, so hats off to him. This is a very different form of racing. He's grown up like his dad did, his granddad did, racing on dirt and then going on to NASCAR, and that might still be in his hopes in the future, but he's giving Trans Am a go, and we wish him well. But he's fighting with Dylan Archer, another youngster, this time from Texas, also from a famous family of racers. Dylan Archer and his father Bobby, and the Archer dynasty continuing too. So we've got a lot of that. There's Dylan Archer's car. We've been on board with the FPEC car. And, yeah, look forward to seeing the future of these guys. In fact, he's just behind Tad Moffitt. There he is in the 43.
Yeah, Tad Moffitt in the Victory Impact Chevy Camaro for Team SLR. You know, Scott Lagacy runs a really great operation over there. Dylan McIvern also driving for him. We see Connor Mozak in the series, always a front runner. So Scott puts great cars on the track, and you know, good to see Thad up in contention here.
Yeah, Connor Mosak, you mentioned, winner of the first race, of course. He's doing a part series this year because, of course, he's in the Xfinity Championship now, has kind of moved on and was one of our young guns up until he started now making his way into the NASCAR fields, and I think he's going to be a huge star, just as Christopher Bell and so many of the others that have come through Trans Am and moved on have done. We are under a black flag situation. We've had a crash, Scott Borchetta involved in a Turn 1 incident, and we want to take every safety precaution for him, and we hope to go racing yet again in a couple of minutes' time. And when we do, we should have a 15-minute sprint, and we just heard Tyler Casera telling us basically tactically that there is no tactics, it's just go for it. But the restart is key because it's going to be a rolling start. And is there any tricks of the trade, or you just basically see how it unfolds? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really make a plan too much. You have to kind of just roll with the punches. What kind of a restart you get relative to the other drivers. I am interested in what Rafa said, though. He has that gearbox issue. He's having to hold it in second gear.
What does that mean?
Well,
I mean, I can work it out, but what does he mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, it's basically anytime he pulls it into second gear, it'll go in, but it won't stay. So he's literally got to keep his hand on the shifter, pulled back in second gear. Anytime he's on the accelerator. So he may be in second gear through turn 1. I'm not sure. Definitely through the S's, turn 5 up to turn 6. There's a lot of second gear through there. And so those are pretty demanding places on the track to be driving with one hand. And this
what would cause that? Is that the teeth and the cogs just literally not fitting in?
Yeah, there's may have been some sort of an issue with the dogs on the gears. They get rounded over, and then it won't stay locked in gears. So I've had that happen to me before in a qualifying session at Laguna Seca. Third gear, I basically had to drive, with my hand pushing forward the entire time. So
I know I used to have that on my MG.
Yeah, really, really tricky, especially at the front of this field, and he's in contention for the win still. So he's got a lot of work to do there. It'll be interesting to see how he manages the end of this race.
So we're getting a good look at the entire grid here. We just saw Roberto Sabato. He was in the thick of it earlier. There's Chris Durbin in the 25. The Amsoil number 25. And just behind him, you see that other three-dimensional car.
That's Austin
Green. 22 today. Happy birthday.
And we give a shout-out to Adam Andretti as well. It was his birthday on Friday.
That's right.
And I think he went down and did a little bit of Andretti karting with his guys.
Well, he's got his own kart circuit here. The Andretti's do a karting experience here in Atlanta, and it's quite good fun.
And I think it may actually be Brent Cruz's birthday this week on the 30th.
That's right. Yes, he turns
15, I
15 finally. And you know what's funny? He was trying to get into F4. He's trying to do our F4 America Series, but he just wasn't old enough for the start of the season. So we may see him in an F4, a single-seater, before the end of the year. That would be good fun.
I have to say, look out to those guys.
I know. Ty Young, he made an early pit stop, did Ty Young, the number 22. And currently down in 24th position.
There we go. Looks like they've got turn 1 cleaned up. They got the safety vehicle turning around here on the track, but looks like we may be going back at least behind the pace car here very, very shortly.
Yeah, and so I'm presuming the pace car will lead them round, and if everything's safe, he'll then pull off and allow them to go green. And it'll be a single file start, effectively, or restart, and away we go, right?
Yeah, we hear the cars firing up right now, actually, so I expect they'll be rolling behind the safety car, and they won't do more than one lap here, so safety car will come down the back straightaway through our Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, turn 10, over the hill, and pull into pit lane here, and these guys will be turned loose for whatever time we have left.
So we are about to resume the Bennett BridgeHaul 100. You've been listening to Tyler Casera. And if anybody out there wants to get a really good racing driver in a really good car, Tyler Casera is your man. We can leave your number for him. What's the latest? Where are you?
Yeah, I mean, I got to say a big thanks to Showtime Motorsports and Ken Thwaites for, bringing me on board to help coach his drivers. And we've got Evan Slater, Dylan Archer, and Michelle Abate. So they've all done a great job so far this year. We've kept the cars clean, had some pretty good results. We're obviously always hungry for more. We want wins and podiums, and that's why we're here. So, so I got to say thanks to him because it's kept me at the track and kept me in the conversation. So, hoping at some point I can get back in the seat and get back out there and contend with these guys for more wins. It's it's a little bit difficult, especially at this track, to be watching. It's one of my favorites.
If I can give you any hope at all, it is hard. Motor racing is expensive. It's not easy. You've been very successful, runner-up in the sim racing during COVID, and of course a two-time winner already. You're always at the sharp end. It's just darn tough. But if I've learned anything, Adam Andretti has taught me that, like you say, keep showing up, keep coming to the booth. Your experience and your insight is fantastic for MAV TV and our live stream around the world. You know what it takes to drive these cars and drive them well and fast. And like you say, if I've learned anything from Adam, it's you've got to be there to be in the show.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Looks like Dylan Archer maybe had a bit of an issue rolling off pit lane. I'm not sure here if he's at the back. Looks like he's just catching up. But yeah, honestly, this is the time though for the drivers where they've just sat here for all but 20-25 minutes.
Yeah.
And they have not even a full lap to gather themselves, laser focus, and they know they've got a really short sprint to the checkered flag here. So,
and just physically, it's quite hard. You've got the adrenaline flowing, and you've calmed it all down. So now you got to kind of build it all up again, and there's a fatigue to that, isn't there?
No, absolutely. Yeah, it's you build it up before the race goes green. You have a caution that comes out, brings the field behind pace car for a bit. They gather themselves, go green again for a bit, and then we have this black flag where you sit for 20 minutes. And yeah, this kind of ramp up and ramp down is tough on drivers for sure. So I don't expect too much is going to change at the front. I think it's going to be pretty aggressive here because we could get another full course yellow with on this very next lap, and then these guys are going to be treating every lap here like it's the last lap.
Well, listen, I know there's a lot of people out there concerned about Scott Borchette's accident, the reason why we stopped, but I can tell you he's okay, he's conscious, he's been talking to his team, but he is on his way to hospital. It was a big hit, but I'm glad to say, he is now in good care and being taken to hospital. That's the latest. I am not a doctor. I'm not going to tell you any more than I know, but I'm glad to say he's in good hands after a big accident. So let's all wish him well as we get underway for the restart. Thomas Merrill then leading the way. Connor Zilic will see that this has got to be a great opportunity to win a race here. And Rafa Matos will be thinking just the same thing, but so too will the entire field, all the way back to Andretti, if not more.
Actually,
we're about to go racing.
They are going to give the field a full lap here. So,
okay.
The cars have been sitting for 20-25 minutes, so they probably decided to let them have a full lap, let them shake the car, get the tires cleaned up, make sure the brakes are warm and everything, and then we'll go back racing probably next time by.
Tyler, I've asked a few drivers this, but the obvious thing from the outside is you see them weaving, and that obviously is putting mechanical grip, mechanical temperature, which creates the grip, into the tires. What else are you thinking about when you're getting ready for a restart?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the shaking the car cleans the tires off. It doesn't actually build as much temperature as you would think. A lot of the temperature these drivers build is from accelerating and decelerating. They use the brake temperature to radiate through the wheels to build the tire pressures up. That's really where you're building the most temperature and pressure in the tires.
You need to stomp the brakes a little bit to get the heat in there as well.
Yeah, these brakes are sensitive to heat. I mean, we're generating 1,300 psi brake pressure at the max, in turn 10, and so it requires a certain amount of heat for the brakes to work. If you don't have them up to temperature and you go to the brake pedal, you almost just don't feel like you're going to slow down. So it's really important, not only from a tire perspective, but brakes to get heat and everything. So that's why you see the drivers weaving and you see them accelerating and decelerating to try to kind of bring everything back up to temp before they go green.
Right, let me just run you through the order. We've got a little bit of time. Thomas Merrill, our current champion from 2022, leads the way. Connor Zilic, the 16-year-old phenom, is in second place. Rafa Matos, two-time champion and won his first race here, is in third. Brent Cruz won the last race. The 14-year-old turning 15 next week is in fourth. Evan Slater, the 17-year-old, is fifth. Goikberg in sixth place. Annunciata, another 16-year-old, seventh. Darren Mock, another youngster, in 8th position. Adam Andretti in 9th, one of the veterans of the series. Dylan McAvern is 10th. Adrian Lostowski 11th, Pro Truck. Caleb Bacon 13th. Tad Moffitt in 14th place. And Dylan Archer rounding out the top 15, who will all score big points. Over 100 points for the winner, and Merrill knows it. Great opportunity for Merrill. He started this weekend 5th overall, just 1 point behind Slater. That will change if things stay as they are. And Slater knows that all too well as we go on board with him.
A little translation there. Darren Mockin says he's got a good piece, not that he has to go pee.
Fair enough. All right, here we go. Off comes the pace car. Merrill leads them to green. We are racing here at Road Atlanta as the clouds start to form again, but I don't think we'll see rain before the end of this. Good start, restart there from Zilic. Popping out comes Goikberg. And Andretti side by side with the 51 of Darren Mock. Up the hill they go. It looks as though Andretti may lose out on that one. Slater on board with him, down through the S's, fighting it.
Yeah, Andretti got really out of shape there on the outside of turn 1. Looks like maybe he made that pass stick. But yeah, like you said, the weather, it's gotten really dark here really quick. I think there's some weather rolling in. These guys need to go, and like I said before, they got to treat every lap here like it's the last one.
If you were Zilic, where would you make your move on Merrill?
I'd make it right here in 7.
Okay.
He's looks like he may do that. We'll see. He's got another shot, obviously going down into Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 10 as well. But
More with Lostowski. We'll soon find out as they all start to spread out now. This is a very quick sprint of less than 15 minutes. In fact, you can see it for yourself. 8 minutes and 45 left. That's all. As we head down, Merrill just gives himself a little bit of a gap as they head down towards 10. Matos creeping closer. Brent Cruz with work to do. Slater right there. Goikberg and then Ciata coming through your shot now. Led by the number 10, Goikberg.
Looks like I might have seen a little bit of rain on the windshield there in turn 7, so.
Now Brent Cruz eyeing up a move at turn 1 on Matos. Whoa, and Ciata goes onto the grass.
Wow.
Luckily saves it.
So lucky there. That is such an easy place to go off and get sucked into the grass. Wow.
8 minutes to go. Rafa Matos under immense pressure in 3rd place. We're on board with him now.
You can see there in the onboard, he's having to hold that gearbox in 2nd gear.
Now, we're expecting rain coming, but it should just miss us before the checkered flag. Oh, this is such drama. I love it. Merrill doing what Merrill does great. The Salinas-based California man and our current champion holding off a hard-charging Silverhair Racing. Connor Zilic looking for his first win. On board with Slater. Can he get past Brent Cruz?
Yeah, he's not letting him get away, that's for sure. He's on full push right now, like I said.
And you really saw the evidence of that loose rear end there he was talking about. And he is managing it just.
Yeah, he's fighting with it for sure, but looks like Goikberg behind him. Not pressuring him too much, so he's pretty much eyes forward right now.
Into 10 they come, under braking. Now you see it for yourself how hard the anchors are on. You can see from the G-force measure there just how hard it is on those anchors. Back with Goikberg there. He's got his own problems. He's got people behind him as too. But look at this freight train coming through. Merrill crosses the line again. Another lap completed. Zilic right there with him. Time running out, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. And the clouds getting ever darker. We've been told 15 minutes away is the rain. And we can be that accurate these days with modern technology. And they've been pretty accurate so far here at Road Atlanta, and I'm sure the same will be true. So we should just get this race finished before it downpours again. Lostowski having a good run.
Yeah, maybe 4 laps left here, so we'll have to see what race control says on the last lap call, but yeah, probably 4, maybe 5 laps at most.
Yeah, is that a worry if you're in the cockpit as to how many more laps there are, or are you just kind of just going for it?
At this point, like I said, they're all going like it's the last lap because any one of these other guys could have a moment and pull out another full course yellow. At that point, the race is going to be over. So, yeah, they're full push. And obviously, yes, when you get down to like 1 or 2 to go, and let's say Connor Zilic, he's going to want to know so that when he can time his move, and try to maximize that where Thomas can't get back by him.
The clock ticking down. Merrill doing a good job of keeping that gap, and it's not much of one, though, between he and Zilic. Zilic right there with him. Silverhair, well, he is racing like a hare right now, and Merrill knows it. Meanwhile, Rafa Matos, I just got a feeling that Matos on a day like today just might be quite happy to hold off Brent Cruz and not worry about trying to get further up the field, because I don't think he's going to make a close down the race pace that these two are on. They've both just done their fastest laps of the day. In fact, Connor Zilic at 124.6, so they're getting quicker and quicker, the leaders, and Matos is going to have to settle for third, and that's going to be a good job because Brent Cruz is all over him, and after his experience at NOLA, he knows how good this kid can be.
Yeah, these cars carry a 26-gallon fuel cell, most of them, and that equates to about 180 pounds of fuel that'll burn off over the course of the race. Now, we've had a lot of sitting on pit road, but you typically will see a lot of the quicker times come towards the end of these races with the lighter fuel load.
You know, it makes me remember when Zilic made his name. He was at VIR, a bit like yourself. He suddenly arrived and took pole away from Matos. And I said to Matos at the time, do you expect that? That's a big surprise. He goes, no. I've been watching Zilic in karting. He said, I knew he was good. Same for Brent Cruz. They all watch each other race. And it's no surprise to a veteran like Matos to see these youngsters doing as well as they can. Merrill the same.
Yeah, Merrill got a little bit loose there. It looked like off 7, and Zilic was able to stick. He's going to put his nose in.
Oh,
Here we go.
Well, I was about to say that was a little bit ambitious, but it doesn't matter. Connor Zilic takes the lead in this race in style. Forces his way through, muscles his way through. This is muscle car racing, let's face it. And Zilic is in the lead of this race, and actually that sort of confrontation there between the pair of them has allowed Matos to catch up at third, and Brent Cruz will be sniffing a podium here. What a finish we've got. Let's have a look at it again. Tyler?
Yeah, look at this. So Zilic comes in here and very, very late move to the inside of Merrill. Merrill gives him room. They make a little bit of contact. And obviously then Zilic is able to prevail out of 10B. But, yeah, I think that was...
No!
Oh, no, we've got the...
Please don't stay there.
58 car, Rob Clifton, I believe, here off in Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers, turn 10A. That's going to probably bring out a full course yellow and likely to end this race.
And look, that's rain starting to fall.
We see a lot of rain on the windshield here, Rafa Matos, in turn 7. So, up and...
it's getting slippy, isn't it?
It's getting really treacherous here in the tower. We're seeing big raindrops coming down. This race is...
rain's coming in hard now across the entire course. So we are going to finish very quickly here because we've got a car in the gravel. The yellow flags are out, and that, I think, is going to be it. There you see it. And Annunciata goes off as well. Yeah. We've got all sorts of cars flying each way and everywhere here as the rain comes down here. That's going to pretty much put pay to it. But I've got a feeling that Zilic made his move at just the right time. Will he hold on to that, or do we go lap back?
Well, here he is. He's coming across the line.
He's got the checkered flag. They put it out for him.
That's the checkered flag. Yep.
Yeah, so Zilic is going to win this race ahead of Thomas Merrill and Rafa Matos, and I would have said that those experienced drivers are going to be just relieved to get out of here with a podium, and I'm talking about Rafa Matos and a very happy Thomas Merrill, because Merrill will want the win, but he will be happy that he didn't get involved in a very heavy downpour. They wouldn't want to have raced down in that last lap there. So dramatic race finish and a dramatic end to this one. It had everything, but Zilic, and I do believe that's going to be his first win.
Yeah, congratulations to Connor Zilic. That was a long time coming for him. He's had a lot of tough luck over the last year. Silver Hair team, Silver Hair Racing drove for them in 2021. Congratulations to them. Maurice and Laura Hall on getting this
Maurice
win.
Hall and Laura are going to be so tickled pink. They're so proud of this kid, and well, they might be. He is really, really an exciting prospect for the future, and this is going to mark a day. I remember back in 2018, it was my first season, and Rafa Matos got his first win here, and look at what the history shows. The rest was history, and I got a feeling that for Connor Zilic, it really will be a turning point for his career. I talked to him yesterday about just that, and we were talking about racing against Brent Cruz and how he was getting all the accolades, and it's annoying him quite literally, because he's like, hang on a minute, I used to race Brent Cruz every weekend in cars. We raced together for 8 weeks. He's good, but he's not that much better than me. And so now I think it's hey, my turn, buddy.
Yeah, just a heck of a drive though from where he started. I know he was really frustrated with his qualifying effort. Felt like he had a lap that would have put him at the front when I talked to him, but obviously he proved he had it today. And man, talk about just making the pass at the absolutely perfect moment. I mean, one corner later or so, and I mean, he wouldn't have had that opportunity. So.
Yeah, and that's another part of it. A smart move to do it and get it done there, knowing that time was running out, because sometimes you're kind of not sure whether you want to lead or follow and then wait to the final time. But when something as dramatic as the rain coming, and maybe they were onto that, and we didn't know as much as they do, but really good by Connor Zilic, the 2021 Jim Fitzgerald Rookie of the Year Award in 21, and the first from the United States to win the FIA Karting Academy Trophy Championship. He's got huge accolades in karting along the way. We knew the man from Mooresville. When you hear guys come from Mooresville, North Carolina, you go,
yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna look up and watch, because that's where NASCAR's greatest come from. And he has grown up and decided to go straight from karting to this, and it's starting to pay off. But what a downpour. That came quickly. But let's just have a look at some great results.
Good points day for Thomas Merrill. Good points day for Rafa Matos, Brent Cruz, and Evan Slater rounding out the top 5.
Great day for Slater too, because we forget both Slater and Zilic were right up there with Merrill and Matos. They take the headlines, but they've done themselves no harm. And Misha Goldberg, what a race! 6th place. That's one of the best finishes I've seen him.
I was a little surprised at his qualifying effort. Honestly, he was further back than I expected. So he kind of finished, about where I expected him to start. So good on him to make those passes. And
I'm going to make a shout out for the good mate Adam Andretti, 9th position. He needed that. He's been up and down, a bit like yourself, Tyler. He's needing to prove himself again. Not that he needs to, but he's been in and out of cars. He's had a 2nd place already, but that's a good, solid 9th place in these conditions. But another big shout out to our youngster Caleb Bacon. Great stuff for the Cortex Racing Bacon Development Team. A top 10 finish.
Caleb Bacon, McIvern, both having to start this race at the back. Huge drives for both of them. Adam Andretti, like you said, picking up a ton of spots. So congrats to everybody for what I guess ended up being a really good race in the end. Like you said, a lot of drama. And again, thoughts are with Scott Borchetta.
By the way, Caleb Bacon, Mooresville, North Carolina. And another ex-Miata guy. I love it. So, come to a rather dreary end to this one, but boy, you have everything. And there you go. Let's head down to Ben Sissel to enjoy the celebrations, wet as they are.
Oh my goodness, ladies and gentlemen, Connor Zilic, I believe.
Connor, take off your helmet. This is Connor Zilic, first win in the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 Series. Thomas Merrill comes over to give him a nice handshake. Great sportsmanship. You guys had at it at Circuit of the Americas. This time you came out on front. How does it feel?
Yeah, it's amazing. We've worked so hard at this, and we've been through the ups and downs of just this sport and how it goes. But we finally got the job done here at Road Atlanta, my first win in Trans Am. So just to be with these guys and bring them this win, it feels so special to me. And I'm just so grateful for all the work they've put in this offseason and last year, getting everything right, the driver, the car, it's all paid off, and we're officially winners.
And did you know the rain was coming? It seems like you timed that pass there at Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers turn 10 right at the right time.
Yeah, I knew there wasn't much time left, and he had a lot of straight line speed, so it was going to be tough to pass him. But every time we would go into 10, I would outbrake him a ton, so I knew I was going to have to pass him there if I wanted to get it done. And he obviously wasn't expecting it, and by the time he saw me there, he tried to close. Just so proud of these guys and the car they brought me, SVRA Racing, Chevrolet, everyone who helps me, Josh Wise, Scott Speed back at GM, and just thankful for everyone.
Nice. I love it, Connor Zilic. Sorry, I was going to come talk to you under the Motul tent, but Thomas Merrill, that was your race. How was it out there?
I love standing in the rain. This is Thomas Merrill weather right here, so I'm very happy with it. I was really happy to see the weather turn out the way that it did. I felt really confident about the race car that we had. Unfortunately,
well, obviously, with the weather playing its role on our technology as well, but well done, Ben. But Connor Zilic takes his first win for Silver Hair Racing. What a great day for the 16-year-old. Thomas Merrill, our champion, is second. Rafa Matos does another good job, the championship leader, by taking another podium as he did last time out at NOLA. NOLA winner, Brent Cruz, was fourth. Evan Slater brilliantly into fifth place. A great run for him from Franklin Road Apparel team. Goikberg in sixth. Mock, McAvern, Andretti, and Bacon. That's your top 10 here at Road Atlanta. Further down, Lostowski, Moffitt, good result. You know, that's his third 12th position in the year. Well, at least he's consistent. Prochuk, Archer, Bose, Peterson in 16th, Boris Said Jr. 17th, Sarge, Mayer, and Tommy Sheehan in 20th position in the Ford Mustang. Further down, Annunziata had that off at the end there, hence going back down to 21st place. He had been in the top 10 before that. Austin Green likewise started well, the birthday boy, but finishes 22nd, and it is his 22nd birthday. Sabato, Young, Perrant, Gray, Caton, Durbin, Lustig, and Raymond, and as you can see, +3, +4, they are not finishers of this race. And likewise further down, Clifton, Borchetta involved in that incident, Abate coming in with damage to her suspension, DeLong, Hearn out early, Rumberg and Winston. That's how it finished here for round 3 of the Big Machine Vodka Spike Coolers TA2 series. So, well, do we have any highlights? Yes, we do. Let's take a look at them because there was so much going on in that race. Let's hear from our starting men as Hearn popped out early on to try and steal the show, and he almost did too until that mistake. Nathan Hearn, though, going off into the grass, almost spinning around, almost hitting the wall. Talking of hitting, was the first incident, and that was Clifton involved in that one. And through came the 71 of Eric Caden. Another incident here. This one was Zilic and Merrill. They touched each other there. And Zilic finally getting the same move done. But Matos biding his time. Hearn would go out. The rain would come down. And all sorts going on. But in the end, it was that man, Connor Zilic, with the victory. Wow. Catch your breath. So let's talk about our cool move of the race. And, well, there's plenty of contenders for this weekend's cool move, but it's something we do every weekend. And this time, the Cool Shirt Systems cool move of the race is this one. It has to be, doesn't it? Merrill coming down to 10 in the lead. But watch this audacious move by this youngster. He said that was the only place he could get it done. And maybe that's a little payback because he was pretty good to Merrill last time out at Kota when the championship was on the line. So payback and a cool move. Wow, it's all gone on here. And, well, the weather's been a story. So too has some of the incidents we've had both on and off the track. But so much going on. And, yeah, it's been an interesting start to the weekend. And there's more racing to come from the Speed Tour here. And we are expecting a little lightning and rain in the area, so we've got to probably pause in terms of our racing situation and wait for a few minutes for the lightning to go and for us to continue with the Speed Tour. But that was a great well, it was a great display of really hard business work for the guys involved, especially the teams. You never think about that. They are working just as hard as the drivers and trying to advise them of how they're doing, you know, and what they need to do, because it's a lot of concentration with the changing conditions. Tyler, your thoughts, final thoughts?
Yeah, just overall really exciting race. I mean, hats off to all the teams. They had everything thrown at them in this one. Weather, you know, wet track on slicks, red flag or black flag conditions, had a really, really short sprint to the end. So yeah, it had everything. And obviously the Silver Hair Racing team and Connor Zilic prevailed.
Well, my thanks to Tyler Casera. If you want to come and join us for a fun weekend, put some cash down, come and join Tyler Casera, throw him in a car, you won't be disappointed. Trust me, I've known him for a few years now. He's a great bet, and long may he continue here in our championship. Thanks for joining us, Tyler. Keep going with Evan, you're doing a hell of a job. We'll take a short break, but we'll be back with more action from Road Atlanta after this.
the checkered flag. I believe it is. Ryan Nance getting the win.